UFC 311 took place last night, and I know I'm late to this video. I was at the event last night, and I had to go to work today, so that's why this video is coming out later. I still wanted to talk about it. It was absolutely insane. It was my first time going to a UFC live event. It popped off. There was no feeling quite like it. The crowd was insane. It was a great time. I want to go through every fight on the card and talk about my reaction to each fight. It was an insane card full of upsets. My heart is hurting in some places and very happy in others. Let's get into it. Tagir Ulanbekov beat Clayton Carpenter in the early prelim opener. Honestly, Tagir didn't impress me at all. It was a really close fight, really competitive. I mean, he clearly won, in my opinion, 2 rounds to 1, maybe 3-0. Clayton Carpenter impressed me more than Tagir just because I thought Tagir was gonna steamroll him. But it went to decision. He's never gonna be a champion. He called for a title shot. You're the first fight on the early prelims. You're not getting a title shot next. Ricky Turcios and Bernardo Sopaj put on an absolute banger. It was super back and forth, and honestly, Ricky did a lot better than I thought he was going to. I thought Sopaj was kind of just going to get through him easily, 3-0, probably a decision, because I know Ricky's tough. It was one of Ricky's best performances in the UFC, but he still came up empty-handed. Sopaj was just the cleaner fighter, and he landed the bigger shots, and that's really what got him the win. I believe it was 2-1. I need to apologize personally to Muin Gafarov. I didn't know his game was like that. I jokingly said in my prediction video, everyone's favorite fighter, he's going to get killed by Rania Nakamura. He fraud-checked Rania Nakamura. It was insane. He looked actually so good out there, besides his back patch of hair, which was disgusting. It was an insane performance. His striking was insane. He was knocking down Nakamura every time he threw a punch. It was insane. He countered all the wrestling. He crushed it. What an upset. What a surprise performance. I'm now a fan of Muin Gafarov. Aylin Perez got the win. It was really dull. But I told you, if it went to decision, it was close, she was getting the win, and that's exactly what happened. Worst fight on the card, it was very boring. Women's fight, moving on. Grant Dawson got a win against Diego Ferreira. It was also quite dull. Dawson, he's just not very entertaining. He landed a really sick head kick against the cage when he had Ferreira's leg up against the cage. It was insane. If that was a knockout, it would have been one of the best knockouts I've ever seen. The rest of the fight was Diego trying to piece up Grant on the feet, and you could tell he was really going for it, but Grant was just spamming takedowns. We'll get to spamming takedowns shortly. He called out Beneil Dariush, and honestly, I like the call out and the fight makes sense, but I don't know if the UFC is going to do it because I think they're going to give Dariush something a little bit better just because of the circumstances of this event and pulling him off entirely. I do really like that fight though. Bogdan Guskov beat Billy Alakana. Not shocking, but what was shocking was Alakana's ability to win the first round. He's a middleweight and he stepped up on short notice, like a week's notice. This was his UFC debut. He honestly looked terrified during his walkout in the cage. He held it down for a bit though. He showed that lighter weight classes are just more talented because Bogdan really didn't have an answer for that until the end of the round. He did reverse him at the end though, and he made this man tap out at the bell. And the crowd was so confused live. I was confused. I was like, no way. If Billy comes back and wins, that's crazy. But then Billy kind of crumbled. And I don't want to be too hard on him, but he kind of quit in there. He just accepted staying on his knees, pause, and getting lit up against the cage. And Bogdan kind of just stopped and was like, you know what? Give him my submission win. And that's what he did. He called out Johnny Walker, and he's low-key hilarious in his interview. And I like the fight. I think they should rebook that. It makes sense. This fight doesn't do a whole lot for his career. It's just more experience. Book the Johnny Walker fight. Azamat Bakayev beat Zachary Reese. Actually, he murdered Zachary Reese. Nasty ground and pound elbow. Probably the nastiest knockout we got last night. It was sick, and it was a great debut. Very excited to see what's next for this guy. He looks like he's actually going to be pretty good. Something I want to touch on. Joe Rogan. Why are we instigating calling people out? This was this man's UFC debut. He fought Zachary Reese, a nobody. And he said, who do you want to fight next? He doesn't even know who's on that roster. Come on. We can't keep asking people to give you a name. They're just instigating, trying to build up hype. Let them live their lives. Let the UFC matchmake the fights they want to matchmake. We're going to get unrealistic call-outs. If they want to call someone out, they'll call someone out. You know? Oh, God, I can't. Oh, Jesus. Peyton Talbot. He got absolutely fraud-checked by Hani Barcelos, and it was really frustrating. I gotta admit, I gotta give credit where it's due to Hani Barcelos, but he was so desperate for those takedowns, it was pathetic. He was clearly very scared of Peyton's stand-up, which is fair. This was like the Temu version of O'Malley versus Merab, because Clearly, like in that fight, O'Malley had the advantage on the feet, but Merab was still doing okay. But the threat of the takedown was just too much, and O'Malley couldn't stop him. Peyton Talbot, clearly better on the feet, was trying to make it a fun fight, could not stop the takedown, and I think a loss for him at this point is okay. I think it's good for him to get humbled a little bit, recoup, make those changes. But if he's already struggling this bad with his wrestling against someone like Hani Barcelos, oh my god, you're cooked. And I love Peyton Talbot. It was depressing. Peyton really did try to make that a fun fight, though, and credit to Barcelos as well. But anytime they were on the feet, you could tell Peyton was really like, I need to get this done, which I appreciated. Sometimes fighters are too tentative during that. He went for it, but Barcelos just kept bringing him to the ground, and it was very frustrating. Okay, I told y'all, Reiner de Ritter is for real. He's got like some type of plot armor. I don't know what it is, but he does. I think he's honestly funny. He's super skilled. I don't think he's ever going to win the title or anything. He's a solid little middleweight contender, though. I think middle of the rankings is perfect for him. He called out for a top 5 guy. I mean, I don't know if he'll get that, but he might get there eventually. He took down Kevin Holland literally within 7 seconds of the first round and just dominated him. And he got a submission in the first round, which is impressive because Holland usually, he's easy to dominate in a fight on the ground. But submitting him in the first round is pretty hard. So congrats to Reiner de Ritter. I'm a fan of the man. Thank God this next fight didn't go past the first round. Jailton Almeida stopped Sergey Spivak in the first round by TKO. Surprisingly, Spivak did well. He hip tossed Almeida and landed some big ground and pound, and I was honestly kind of shook by it. This fight had potential to be super boring. Almeida got on the feet, rocked Spivak, finished him by TKO. I think if Almeida works on his stand-up and boxes a little more, he could be a real problem because he clearly hits hard. I think the stoppage was kind of ridiculous. There was like 7 seconds left. I think it could have gone to the next round, but I'm not mad because that fight had potential to be really boring. Then we had the featured fight, Yuri Prohaska and Jamal Hill. A lot of people were picking Jamal because of Yuri's defense. I picked Yuri. I did. And I love Jamal. I know people hate him. I really like Jamal Hill. I think he's hilarious. Yuri looked better than he ever has, debatably. Head movement was insane. He looked like an actual samurai out there. First round, he knocked down Jamal Hill. It was a war of a fight. You thought Jamal was going to get smoked in the second. He kind of came back. It was a really close second round, but I gave it to Jamal, and so did all the judges. And in the third round, they both were going for it. They were both wanting to get that win. And Yuri, of course, landed such a sick counter and dropped Jamal so bad. And then followed it up. Jamal was really trying to fight back and survive. Dropped him again. Yuri got it done. It was insane. It was a war. Exactly what we wanted from this fight. I don't know what's next for Yuri. He called for the Alex trilogy. He's not going to get it yet, but maybe eventually down the line if he becomes undeniable. I feel for Jamal Hill. He got booed like crazy, and I know he's kind of doing it to himself. This man put on a show for us, and he was really respectful with Yuri, which I appreciate. I'm glad Yuri got this one done, though. The co-main event, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Oh my god. Now, I'm not on the outside with this one. I picked Umar, as did a lot of people, and for good reason. And what I will say is Umar proved he belonged in this title fight. It was such a competitive fight. I'm going to be honest. I know MMA fans switch up quick. I switched up quick. I was not a Merab fan. But last night's performance, oh my god. That place was going absolutely wild. I was jumping because of how epic this fight was and what a show Merab put on. He put on such a show. Don't get me wrong, takes two to tango, but Merab was getting all the pops in the crowd. First 2 rounds, I clearly gave them to Umar. They were close rounds, but I thought Umar got them both. As did, I think, pretty much every judge. 2 out of 3. I thought he was really quick. He was doing exactly what I thought he'd do. He was a little bit better on the feet. The wrestling was kind of canceling each other out. The transitions and reversals in this fight were so beautiful. It was insane. But then after the 3rd round, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Merab took over and knew it. He was emoting. He was like pop, dropping, locking it in that cage against Umar. It was insane. He was getting dragged. Umar was holding him around his waist, and Merab walked around like this. Who does that? Who beats Merab? Answer, nobody. Now, I know I'm a biased Sean O'Malley fan. I don't think O'Malley beats Merab, or Umar, honestly, but like, who's going to beat Merab? It has to be someone like O'Malley, where they just need one chance on the feet, to snipe him. But Merab's proving he can take a punch. I thought his chin was his weakest link. He's taking hits. That was my fight of the night. I know Yuri versus Jamal got a lot of credit, but I'll tell you right now, being there live, that fight was absolutely electric. The crowd knew what was up to. Every time Merab got a takedown, the crowd erupted because they knew that was like insane. Definitely the performance of the night for me was Merab getting that done. I like Merab now, I guess. He's winning me over, and I don't like it. And then moving on to the main event, we all knew what was going to happen, but I'll tell you, it was the night of the underdog, and I really believed that Money Moicano was going to get it done. I watched the replay. I know he didn't actually knock down Islam. It was more of a slip, but live, I thought he knocked him down, and I almost peed my pants. Islam went out there and did exactly what he's supposed to do. The striking was honestly pretty even. Like, Moicano was holding it down, and then he got taken down and submitted very fast. And poor Moicano. Very sad for Moicano, but also very happy he got this chance, very happy he got the spotlight. The fans were really into him. I'll tell you, it's better for the sport that Islam won, because we need a GOAT, we need a face of the UFC, and I think Islam can become that undisputed GOAT in the UFC over someone like John Jones or even GSP, whoever you got up there. It was an incredible night of fights. Islam did what he had to do. I think they should book the Armin fight for real, but Dana White said he's not going to, which is scary. What are you going to do next? If it's not Ilya, I don't really care. I'll tell you that much. Absolutely incredible. My fight of the night was Merab Umar, and I know that's what actually won it. I think Yuri had an absolutely insane performance. Azamat Bokayev also had a crazy performance. And I gotta give Hani Barcelo so much credit, because he got a 30-26 on Peyton Talbot. That's so depressing. Super fun night of fights. I had a great time. Let me know what you thought of the fights down below. My first UFC event, I want to go back. There was no feeling quite like it. If you're new here, like, comment, subscribe. Gonna be trying to upload new content. Gonna do a every fight to make for UFC 311 after this. See you later. Peace.